Hello YouTube people. The second book that I allowed myself to read for the month of April is a book that I actually tried to start reading around the time that I got pregnant last year, and then everything got fucking crazy and it just didn't happen. Plus it was a digital copy that I could only read on the computer, and I almost never finished those. I need a book in my hand. But the book in question is Stephen King's Revival. And first of all, let me explain that my love affair with Stephen King's work is so great that I actually fucking read an entire article he wrote on baseball, and I despise baseball, but I love that article. To me, that man could write almost anything and make me fall deep into it. I absolutely, I love his writing. And this goes back a long way. I can remember, because of course I've watched horror movies since I was 3 years old. My first horror movie was Nightmare on Elm Street. I was a horror movie junkie from that fucking point on, and one of my favorite horror movies to this day, but especially when I was little because there were parts that actually creeped me out, was and still do, which is really fucking hard to do because I mean once you've watched horror movies since you were 3, you kind of become desensitized to it, I guess. But anyway, was Pet Sematary. And I can remember being 5 years old, it was before I could read it all, my mom checking that book out from the library and me just holding it in my hands because I wanted it so bad. Like, I wanted to open that book and be able to read it. And I begged her to read me that book, and the selfish bitch wouldn't do it. Can you fucking believe that shit? I read River some of this. But anyway, all of that aside, you know, he does have books that I'm not too crazy about. This one is not one of them. This book is fucking awesome. If you're expecting in-your-face horror, like The Shining kind of thing, this is not that kind of book. It tells a story, like just a story of a man's life up until pretty much the end of the book. I guessed what was going on like halfway through it, but you know, it's not super obvious or anything like that. But really, you don't get to the horror part until the end, so if that's what you're looking for, this is not the book for you. However, if you are like me and you just love falling into Stephen King's amazing writing, you will love this book because he did an excellent job with it. He told the story as eloquently as he always does, and it was really, really great. So I recommend that all you Stephen King junkies out there that have not read it yet, go read it. And it seems like fucking his newer shit is getting a lot of shit from people for like really stupid fucking reasons. I feel like people are like, well, you know, he's putting out a book a year, he's not even trying at this point. That's bullshit. I mean, some of his newer shit has been some of his best shit he's ever written. Like, yeah, in the past 10 years, I believe Lisey's Story would have been about 2000. That was one of my favorite Stephen King books, and it was totally a book that was, for the most part, out of character for him. Closest thing to a love story that man will probably ever write, but it was fucking amazing. Listen, now I'm going to review Stephen's shit. But yeah, okay, I'll cut it off here, especially since I just did like a 15-minute fucking review of Caitlin Moran. Yeah, if you love Stephen King and you love the way he tells a story, go get this book and read it. Go get it from the library, buy it, do whatever you do to get your books. It's like a fucking addiction. Go to your local dealer, get your book. But yeah, get it and read it. But if you're looking for horror all the way through, this is not the book for you. Alright, love you guys. Blessed be.